This may seem like a very odd game to be talking about, but it really is one of the more interesting games that was released on the Commodore 64 back in the 1980s. First of all, this was one of the very first video games to be developed in Finland. And it was actually the very first Finnish movie licensed game, so it does have a very quirky and special place in video game history. Uuno Turhapuro Muuttaa Maalle, the video game, was released in 1986 as a tie-in for the movie of the same name. The movie stars Vesa-Matti Loiri as Uuno Turhapuro, who in the movie moves to the country. The story of the game actually follows the plot of the movie pretty well for a movie tie-in game from 1986. Now, in case you do not know, let me tell you just a little about Uuno Turhapuro. He, for a lack of a better term, is a loser who has hit the jackpot by marrying a hot and wealthy woman. He then, immediately after the wedding, turns into a total slacker and a slob. The character had a great run that would see many TV episodes as well as some popular feature films as well. And of course the video game we are talking about today. He in many ways does share some similarities from Al Bundy from the Married with Children series that was also a hit in the 1980s. The story of the game sees Uuno Turhapuro's hot and upper-class wife leaving him, well, he thinks she has because of a note she left him. So of course the only logical thing for our hero to do is head to the country and live a fun-filled life of doing whatever the heck he wants. Considering this is an 80s game, it does tell the story really well. The game at its heart is a side-scrolling platform game. This was the trend for the majority of licenses that were released during the 80s and 90s. The idea of the game is to beat the 3 levels and get the highest score that you possibly can. These 3 levels are based on scenes from the movie. The first level will see Uuno Turhapuro plowing a field in his hometown. The way you do this is by having a car pull you while you are using a plow. While you do not control the car or whatever it is moving the plow, you instead have to move the plow and make sure that it avoids any obstacles that are in its way. The second level is by far the hardest. Here you are on a lake and you are water skiing with your bare feet, of course, and once again you need to avoid any obstacles that are coming your way. The last level sees you running through the woods. Here you need to look out for angry neighbors and trees that will stop you. You have 4 lives in which to beat the game, and trust me when I tell you that your first few games will no doubt see you using them all. In all, Uuno Turhapuro Muuttaa Maalle, the video game, is a really decent movie tie-in game. It has a special 80s charm to it that makes it one of the more underrated games in the Commodore 64 library.